start this out, we're going to start with one of the more easy characters, the more simple one. He's still very complicated, but not as complicated as most of the other ones. Looking at Bakugo and Kirishima right now is going to be this guy, or better known as this guy, Tenya Ida. So first off, we need to talk about Ida's past, because that's one of the main things that shapes a person is their past. To start with, we're going to talk about what I did with Ida and his brother. Now for that, I actually didn't have to do anything to make their relationship the way it is, because to me, it looked the way I made it. I watched the episode that had Tensei and the brief showing of his family, and I immediately saw identity failure and glass child syndrome. For example, I know that the parents of the children are very minor and don't matter to the story at all, but from what I did see, it seemed like they had a deep care for Tensei, but not Tenya. Tenya was very visibly freaking out and in complete distress over Tensei being hospitalized. They didn't even give him a second glance, which made me think of a mild case of glass child syndrome. And if you don't know what that is, read the screenshots. And furthermore, with Tensei, this is where I saw something else, the possibility of identity loss. Now, there is a big difference between looking up to somebody and copying them altogether. Kirishima is a good example of looking up to someone. He took inspiration from them, and he made him want to be something. Ida, on the other hand, is a good example for obsession, for the copycat. His whole character was basically Tensei, and I saw it the second the Hero Killer episode came on my screen. When I saw Tensei, I nearly thought Ida had a twin brother, because they look like the same person, and sometimes this is something that happens, especially if the siblings have as drastic of an age difference as they do. The level of obsession, though, is what is concerning to me. Ida copied everything: the haircut, the dress, the style of dress, the mannerisms. Every ounce of advice that Tensei ever said, Ida took it straight to mind and heart like it was gospel, which in turn made Ida almost like a clone of Tensei, causing youngest child syndrome. Look at the screenshots. So now we introduce the sickness. What exact illness did I give him that was so severe that he had to stop school? Well, I'll finally tell you. A near stroke. A big, potentially life-threatening stroke. And I deliberately chose him for that for two reasons. The main one being, it just made sense. Think about it. His character was constantly shouting and moving so much. Everything about his character was high blood pressure and not a moment's rest. I would assume that he'd also study late into the night for hours. Throw in the trauma, both physically and mentally, from Vlad, and you have a one-way ticket to a stroke. Now, this stroke was the most damnation I could have done to his character. He had to quit the hero course, leave his chosen family, and basically do nothing but lay in bed or be in the hospital, which in every sense is the opposite of Ida. So now Ida has to quickly abandon the idea of trying to be his brother or face death itself. Now we move on to the present. Ida is now 39, 20 years after the Vlad incident. He's married, a father, off and on mechanic, but that leads us to what his character represents the most. Disappointment. An unwanted life. That near stroke screwed everything about his life, from his physical appearance to his relationships with everyone. His old classmates moved on. His family barely speaks. It's just him, constantly ill, but now with 4 kids and Sue. Speaking of Sue, let's move on to his marriage. Let's just start with this. Sue would have never been Ida's first choice, because A, she's a frog, and B, Ida's character itself would have wanted someone like Momo. Someone like him. Disciplined, structured, a leader. To be honest, I shipped them from the get-go. But I chose for Sue to get with Ida because Momo's character took a drastic change, and so did Ida's. Changes that would have never worked. Momo was going into weed while Ida was getting more and more ill. Sue was less traumatized than Momo. I'll explain that when it's Momo's turn. So therefore, Sue was the one going to Ida just to sit with him. So they bonded. I wouldn't call it love. Then Ida left school, and shortly after Sue was expelled. They kept seeing each other a little. Then Sue left home, and with a lack of other options, she went to Ida's house for a place to stay. And that's where the convenience comes in. She needed a place to stay, and he needed someone to take care of him. So that's what they did. She took care of him, and he gave her everything she needed. Suddenly, each other was the only ones they were seeing. Again, for a year this time. Again, convenience. They grew close. That's not romance. That's just human nature. Then, when he got better-ish, he proposed because they were young. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this for anyone. This generation confuses everything with love and hate. It's always, you're so in love with someone or you hate their guts, no in between. So I took complete advantage of that. And so here we are. They are young. And they confused this dependency they've grown for each other with being in love. And I'll say this too. Everything these characters do and say is intentional, and most things have subtext, such as this scene looks beautiful, right? Well, it would have been if he had said we've been dating for just a year. But no, he said we've been together for just a year, which is the reality. That's all it has been. They've been together in the same place, in the same general vicinity for a year, but not dating the whole time. They've just convinced themselves that they are. And so they got married. So here they are, having never kissed once, but married, and after 4 kids followed. But the thing is, Ida and Sue would have never wanted this, because let's be honest, if the circumstances were any different, Ida would have never looked at Sue twice like that, and Sue would have maybe glanced, but that's about it. That's where the representation of disappointment in life comes in for Ida, because he's exactly where he did not want to be. He wouldn't have wanted to be with Sue. He wanted to be a pro hero, but he's consistently at risk, always feeling sick, and is growing more and more bitter by the second. Every episode or day for him, is worse and worse. And at this point, he wants to die. He wants this life that he never chose to come to an end. And finally, we're going to go over his relationship with fatherhood. Now, don't get him wrong. He loves his kids. They're his babies. But he didn't want them. He had them with a woman he would have never been with if the situation was even a little different. Those children are the only thing in his life that he had the chance to choose, and he made the choice. He wouldn't have wanted them, but he chose to have them. And this might be one of the most complicated aspects of his character. Not the essential marriage of convenience, not the stroke, but his choice to have children. 4 of them at that, even though he's already at risk for a huge stroke. It's because his whole life he never had a choice. His life revolved around being perfect, like how he saw Tensei. His whole life, like how he had to drop school or die, or how he had no other option, or how he saw no other option but to marry Sue. He wanted a choice, just one choice, and he made it. And that's the psychology behind Tenya Ida.